My beloved soul, before you go any further, I want you to pause within your heart. Not to close your eyes, not to silence your thoughts, but to simply feel what heaven is whispering right now. Jesus says, marriage is near. These words are not ordinary. They are not the sweet promises that fade with time. They are eternal, divine, and carved into the plan of your destiny. They are the words of truth that tremble through the corridors of heaven, reaching you right now, because God is about to fulfill a chapter that once seemed delayed, forgotten, or impossible. From the very moment you began to wonder if your love story would ever find completion, heaven began to prepare something beyond your imagination. You didn't come across this message by accident. This moment was written long before your tears touched the pillow, long before you questioned whether you were meant to be alone. Jesus saw the loneliness. He saw the confusion. He saw the years of waiting. And through it all, he whispered to your spirit, do not give up. What I am preparing is sacred. Many have told you that waiting is wasted time. But in the eyes of God, waiting is holy. It is the sacred place where he removes the wrong, restores the broken, and refines the soul, so that when love arrives, it doesn't destroy you. It completes you. The truth behind your waiting is deeper than you think. It was never about delay. It was about divine alignment. There were moments you prayed, Lord, why not now? Why not me? But what you didn't see was how Jesus was moving mountains behind the scenes. He was healing someone you have not yet met. He was guiding your heart away from people who could have wounded you beyond repair. He was shaping you into the version of yourself that would not just attract marriage, but sustain it in holiness, truth, and divine unity. And now heaven declares, the time is drawing near. When Jesus says your marriage is near, he isn't speaking of an earthly contract. He's speaking of a divine covenant. He's speaking of a union that heaven recognizes and hell fears. This is not a relationship that comes to test you. It comes to complete you, to strengthen your faith, to multiply your peace, and to make your purpose shine brighter than ever before. There is someone being prepared for you right now. You may not see them, you may not even know their name, but they are walking a journey that mirrors yours. They are being refined, humbled, purified. Their own nights of tears are watering the same ground that your prayers have been falling upon. The same God who has been writing your story is writing theirs. And when the time is right, those two pages will meet. This is not fantasy. This is divine orchestration. Jesus wants you to understand that love delayed is not love denied. There is power in patience because patience builds discernment. It teaches you how to recognize what is sent by heaven and what is disguised by temptation. Many rush ahead, chasing affection without direction, only to find themselves chained to pain that was never meant for them. But you have been chosen to wait not because you are forgotten, but because you are precious. Heaven's love story is not built on rush. It is built on revelation, and revelation takes time. You see, when God prepares a marriage, he first prepares the foundation. The foundation is not flowers or rings or emotions. It is spiritual understanding. It is healing. It is learning to be whole on your own so that you don't expect another person to fix your brokenness. Because true love doesn't come to repair you. It comes to reflect what God has already restored. That is the truth behind the waiting. It is not punishment. It is preparation. Some nights you may have cried and said, Lord, why is it taking so long? But Jesus says, because I love you too much to rush you into something that will crush you. Every tear that fell was counted. Every lonely night was written down. Every time you thought you were forgotten, heaven was smiling and saying, child, you are being positioned. There were relationships you wanted to work that had to fail. There were people you thought were your forever who had to leave. And as painful as that was, it was divine protection. Because had you stayed where you didn't belong, you would have missed where you were destined to be. The waiting made you wiser. It made you deeper. It made you pray differently. It made you love with discernment instead of desperation. That is what heaven wanted for you. Not just marriage, but understanding. Because without understanding, love becomes a battlefield. But with understanding, love becomes worship. Right now, as you hear this message, Jesus is healing your heart from the disappointments that made you doubt love. He is erasing the shame that made you feel unworthy of it. He is reminding you that you are not behind. You are right on time. Your story is not late. It is sacredly timed, and when God moves, He moves suddenly. The same way He turned water into wine, He will turn your season of waiting into a season of rejoicing. The same God who watched you walk through loneliness will soon watch you walk down an aisle of destiny, not just in the physical, but spiritually, into the arms of someone who was chosen by heaven, molded for your heart and ordained for your soul. But before that moment, there must be a revelation. The truth behind the waiting will leave you in tears, not because of sorrow, but because of how deeply you'll understand that God never forgot you. You'll look back and realize every delay was divine mercy. Every rejection was protection. Every heartbreak was redirection. Jesus says, "When you see it happen, you'll understand why I made you wait." The truth is, while you were waiting for your partner, God was waiting for your heart. He was waiting for you to stop comparing your timeline to others. He was waiting for you to trust Him even when nothing made sense. He was waiting for you to find peace in His presence before seeking peace in another person. That's what love looks like in heaven. Trust first, timing second. Many people look for marriage as an answer to emptiness. But Jesus says you are already whole. The person who comes will not complete your emptiness. They will complement your fullness. The waiting wasn't to show you what you lacked. It was to remind you of what you already had within. Every time you felt unloved, heaven was teaching you what real love feels like. Through patience, through kindness, through forgiveness. God wanted you to experience His heart before you could hold someone else's. This is why the waiting hurts, because transformation always hurts. But in that pain, heaven was building something divine inside you. Your future spouse will not meet the version of you who doubted everything. They will meet the version of you who knows who she or he is in Christ. Whole, restored, peaceful, radiant. That's the version that will attract what you've been praying for. And when the meeting happens, it won't be forced. It will feel divine. You'll know it's God because it will bring peace, not confusion. Will carry stillness, not fear. You will feel like you have known that soul forever. Because in a way, you have. God wrote your name side by side in His divine book long before the earth was formed. Marriage is not coming to surprise you. It is coming to fulfill you. But before it appears, there is one more truth that heaven wants you to grasp. The reason behind the tears. Those tears were not signs of weakness. They were seeds. Every tear that fell from your eyes watered the soil of your miracle. The angels have collected them. They have carried them before the throne. And heaven has declared that those tears will return to you as joy. When Jesus says marriage is near, He means the wait is ending, and your heart is ready. But don't mistake readiness for perfection. You will not be perfect, you will be prepared. And that preparation is enough for God to move, because God doesn't bless perfection. He blesses surrender. So surrender now, not to loneliness, but to the promise. Surrender to the truth that what is meant for you will not pass you by. Surrender to the understanding that divine timing is not delay. It is protection, preparation, and purpose intertwined. Heaven is saying this to you now. You were not overlooked. You were hidden for a reason. You were hidden because the person God prepared for you needed time to mature into their purpose, just as you needed time to grow into yours. If you had met before, the connection might have broken under the weight of immaturity. But now you are both ready to carry what God is about to build. Marriage is not only about companionship, it's about calling. It's about purpose aligning with purpose, faith strengthening faith, love magnifying love. When the day comes, you won't have to chase it. You won't have to prove your worth. You won't have to question their intentions. You will simply know because peace will confirm what words cannot. That peace will be your sign. So hold on. Keep believing. Keep preparing your heart. The waiting is almost over. And when it ends, you will understand that every silent night was worth it. Every lonely season was sacred. Every no you received was protecting your yes from God. Jesus says, I have not forgotten the promise I whispered to your heart. I have not overlooked the desire I placed within you. The time of unveiling is near. The truth behind your waiting will bring you to tears of gratitude, because what I am about to reveal will make every delay make sense. And when it happens, you will not only thank God for the marriage, you will thank Him for the waiting, because it was in the waiting that you learned to love Him most. There is a moment in every believer's life when faith is tested in silence, when the promise looks distant, and the heart begins to question whether God still remembers. That's where you have been. You have been in the quiet classroom of heaven, where patience becomes the teacher and surrender becomes the lesson. But Jesus says, the silence was not empty. It was sacred. Every day you thought nothing was happening, heaven was weaving miracles you could not see. Every tear you wiped away was watering the garden where your love story will soon bloom. You thought you were waiting alone, but angels were standing beside you, whispering your name in heaven's prayers. Sometimes God allows the waiting to feel heavy, because in that heaviness your faith becomes unshakable. Love that survives silence is love that will survive anything. Jesus says, you were not waiting for love. I was teaching you to carry love, because love that comes from heaven is not a feeling, it is a responsibility. It is the kind of love that protects, endures, forgives, and keeps its promise. That's why your waiting has been different. That's why others moved on quickly while you were told to stay still. Heaven has been preparing you to hold something sacred, not something temporary. There is someone out there right now, the one heaven has chosen for you as walking through their own wilderness, just like you. They have asked God, where is my person? And God has answered, in the making. You are both being molded in separate rooms of preparation, and soon the doors will open. When that door opens, it won't be through chance. It will be through purpose. It may begin as a simple encounter, a conversation, a connection, a small gesture that seems ordinary. But within that moment, heaven will whisper to your soul, this is the one, and you'll feel peace. That peace will settle in your spirit like sunlight after rain. Jesus says, do not fear what is coming, for I am the one writing this love story. So many times, you thought you ruined your chances. You thought your past mistakes disqualified you. But grace says otherwise. Grace says, I still choose you. Grace says, your story is not over. The enemy wanted to make you believe that you missed your moment, that love had passed you by. But the truth is, what is meant for you cannot be stolen, delayed, or denied. It is written under heaven's seal. You are not behind. You are being synchronized with divine timing. If only you could see what heaven sees, the timeline of your destiny, the divine orchestration of meetings and miracles, you would not worry another day. You would rest knowing that what you prayed for is already unfolding. Every time you felt forgotten, heaven was setting the stage. Every time you felt unseen, heaven was preparing your unveiling. Every time you felt unloved, Jesus was holding you closer than you realized. Because marriage is not just about finding someone, it's about becoming someone. Before you meet them, God wanted you to meet yourself, the healed you, the mature you, the spiritually grounded you. He wanted to free you from the fear of being abandoned, from the trauma of being unseen, from the pain of feeling not enough. Because when the one comes, you will not love from wounds. You will love from wisdom, and wisdom is the foundation of lasting love. The truth behind the waiting is that God wasn't just preparing a spouse for you. He was preparing a destiny partnership, someone whose soul will fit yours not just emotionally, but spiritually. Someone whose prayers will echo yours in perfect harmony. Someone whose heart beats with the same divine rhythm. Heaven's love stories are written in eternity, not in haste. You have been hidden for a reason. God was keeping you away from those who could not value your spirit. He was protecting your tenderness from those who only wanted your attention. He was waiting for someone who would see you not as an option, but as a divine answer. And when that person enters your life, you will not have to convince them to stay. You will not have to chase or prove your worth. They will see you and know, this is God's doing. Jesus says your story will not look like others. It will look like redemption. Redemption love doesn't start with perfection. It starts with grace. It starts when two broken hearts healed by the hands of God find each other and realize that every scar was leading to this moment. That is what's coming. That's what's near. Marriage in God's eyes is not a celebration of two people. It's a manifestation of His promise. It's heaven saying, it is time and the time is drawing close. You will notice signs. Your heart will feel a new kind of peace. Not the peace that makes you comfortable, but the peace that makes you ready. You'll feel drawn to prepare, to release the past, to forgive fully, to let go of old pain. That's not coincidence. That's alignment. Every part of your being is aligning with what God has written. You may not have a date, but heaven does. You may not know how, but heaven knows when. In the unseen, your story is already unfolding. Jesus says you have waited, you have cried, you have prayed, now prepare to receive. This season will not be like the last. The doors that were closed before will now open with ease. The people who rejected you will watch as God honors you. The places that once brought you pain will become testimonies of His restoration. Because this time, it's not about just getting married. It's about being fulfilled in God's perfect will. The love that's coming will not take you away from God. It will draw you closer to Him. It will make you pray more, not less. It will make you worship deeper, not quieter. It will not be lust disguised as love. It will be peace wrapped in purpose. That's the difference between what you thought you wanted and what God is preparing. And when it happens, it will move swiftly. The connection will make sense without explanation. You won't need to force it or prove it, because peace never argues. Heaven is saying, stay ready, stay pure, stay faithful. Not because God is testing you, but because your promise is approaching. The waiting is almost over. The unveiling is near. The truth behind your tears is about to be revealed. And when it is, those same tears will become laughter. Your why will become clear. You will see why you had to walk alone. Why some people left. Why the silence lasted so long. It was all divine choreography. Every step, every delay, every unanswered prayer was leading you here. And now heaven whispers, it is near. Marriage is not far from you. It is forming around you. It is being crafted in the unseen, nurtured by your prayers, watered by your faith, and sealed by God's timing. So do not lose heart. Your wait has purpose. Your tears have meaning. Your loneliness has built a depth that will become the foundation of your forever. When you look back, you will not say, "I waited too long." You will say, "God was right on time," because He always is. There is a sacred stillness that arrives right before God fulfills a promise. It is not silence without meaning. It is heaven holding its breath as destiny begins to unfold. You are standing in that stillness right now. The waiting season that once felt endless has reached its turning point. Jesus says, "The next chapter will not come through striving but through surrender." Every time you whispered, "Lord, I am tired," heaven heard you. Every time you said, "I trust you anyway," heaven moved a little closer. You didn't realize that each act of faith, every moment you chose belief over bitterness, was unlocking what God had been saving for you. The truth behind the waiting is that you were never standing still. You were being positioned. God was teaching you to stand where storms could not shake you, so that when your promise arrives, nothing will steal your peace. Jesus says, "I have been shaping your heart to carry the kind of love that reflects my own." That's why this season felt like fire, because fire purifies. You were purified of impatience, purified of comparison, purified of fear. Every disappointment was a tool in the hands of a loving Creator. He was molding your spirit to recognize what is genuine and to walk away from what is false. Soon, you will see why no counterfeit could satisfy you. You were designed for something holy. There is someone walking toward you even now, unaware that their steps are being guided by God. They will find you not because of coincidence, but because of covenant. The same Spirit that has been whispering to you has been whispering to them. The same prayers you've spoken through tears have echoed in their heart. And when paths cross, it will not feel like a beginning. It will feel like recognition. You will look at them and sense, "I have known you in prayer before I ever met you in person." Jesus says, "This union will not be built on attraction alone, but on anointing." That means your marriage will carry purpose. The two of you will not just share affection, you will share assignment. You will pray together, create together, dream together. You will be each other's covering in a world that misunderstands holy love. Every lonely night prepared you for that. Loneliness was never punishment. It was preparation for partnership. Because love without preparation becomes dependency. But love after preparation becomes destiny. You have learned how to pray when no one clapped. You have learned how to stay faithful when no one watched. That strength will sustain your union. The same endurance that held you together through waiting will hold your marriage through storms. Jesus says, "What I bring together, no storm can destroy." And that is exactly what He is about to do. You will notice the small changes first, the inner peace that doesn't leave, the sudden release from old attachments, the gentle joy that returns without explanation. Those are signs that heaven has already opened the door. There will be divine coincidences that are not coincidences at all. Places you felt drawn to visit, words that come to your spirit unexpectedly, conversations that seem ordinary but leave your heart burning with peace. That's how God works. Quietly, beautifully, perfectly timed. And when the meeting happens, remember this: it is not the beginning of your happiness. It is the continuation of your healing. You will not enter that union empty. You will enter whole, and wholeness attracts wholeness. The world teaches that marriage is the goal, but heaven teaches that marriage is the overflow. It is what happens when two healed hearts find each other under the light of God's promise. So do not be afraid to hope again. Jesus says, "The weight has not weakened you. It has strengthened your hope." Hope is what allows miracles to breathe. Every morning you chose to believe even without proof. You were giving heaven permission to move. And now the winds are changing. The same God who seemed silent is now shifting everything into alignment. He is removing distractions. He is exposing false intentions. He is preparing the atmosphere for your divine meeting. You might feel sudden endings, friendships fading, desires changing, routines breaking apart. Do not be alarmed. These are birth pains of a new season. God removes what cannot remain before He reveals what must enter. The promise is too pure to share space with the past. There will be moments of sudden clarity, times when you'll say, "I finally understand why it all had to happen." You will look back and see that every delay was choreography, every detour was direction. Heaven wastes nothing, and when that realization sinks in, you will weep, not out of sadness but out of reverence. You'll see how tenderly God's hand guided you through what could have broken you. Jesus says, "The tears you cried alone were not forgotten. They were collected and turned into oil." That oil will anoint your marriage. That means every pain will become purpose. The empathy you learned in loneliness will help you love more deeply. The discernment you gained through heartbreak will protect what's coming. The endurance you built in prayer will sustain your promise. You are ready. Even if you don't feel ready, the proof of readiness is peace, not perfection. Peace is settled in you, that calm acceptance that God is faithful even when details are unclear. That peace is heaven's whisper. Now you can receive. You will not need to strive anymore. You will not need to beg. The promise will locate you. In the same way Ruth was seen in the fields when she wasn't looking for attention, you will be seen doing ordinary things faithfully. And destiny will find you. Boaz didn't appear because Ruth chased him. He appeared because she was faithful where God placed her. Faithfulness attracts fulfillment, so stay faithful. Continue being kind even when unseen. Continue trusting even when unsure. Continue believing because heaven is already responding. Your story is shifting from waiting to witnessing. When you witness it, it will move fast, not because it's rushed, but because everything that needed to be prepared is finally ready. Both hearts, both paths, both purposes aligned under heaven's clock. You'll see why the others didn't work. You'll see why you had to be alone for a while. You'll see that it was never rejection, it was selection. God selected you for a story that would glorify Him. And when the day of union comes, the atmosphere itself will testify. Peace will rest on you. The air will feel sacred. You will sense heaven smiling, because what God is doing is not just giving you a spouse, He's giving you a testimony. And through that testimony, others will believe again in divine love. The truth behind your waiting is that it wasn't only about you, it was about everyone who would watch your story unfold and say, "If God did it for them, He can do it for me." Your marriage will preach without words. It will show what happens when two hearts choose faith over fear, prayer over panic, patience over pressure. Jesus says, "I am bringing beauty out of what you called broken." This is not a small promise. It's a generational one. The love that's coming will not just bless you. It will heal your lineage. It will break cycles of abandonment, of divorce, of fear. Where the enemy thought he had planted patterns, God is planting permanence. Your union will be a fortress of peace. Your home will be a sanctuary of joy, because heaven is the architect. And as this part draws to a close, hear this one truth that heaven repeats again and again. You have not been waiting for love. Love has been waiting for you to become ready to carry its weight. You are ready now. Heaven is ready. The promise is near. There is a holy hush in heaven right now. The angels have paused their songs, watching as God brings the final pieces of your promise together. You cannot see it yet, but something sacred is shifting. The season that once looked silent is now alive with divine movement. Every prayer you whispered has become a seed pushing through the soil. And Jesus says, now the harvest begins. For years you have walked through hidden seasons, the years of pruning, refining, waiting, believing. You carried hope like a candle through storm after storm. There were nights you thought the flame would go out, but it never did. Heaven protected it, because that little flame of faith was never small to God. It was proof that your spirit refused to give up. Now that faith is drawing the promise closer, heaven is saying, this is the season where what you carried in prayer will appear in sight. The person prepared for you is also awakening to destiny. They have walked their own long road, the tests, the healing, the reshaping of the heart. There were moments when they didn't even know what they were waiting for. Yet the Spirit kept them from settling, from marrying too soon, from choosing the wrong voice. And all the while, your prayers were guiding them without either of you knowing. Two souls connected by unseen threads of grace. That is what divine marriage looks like. It's not the collision of strangers. It's the reunion of promises spoken before birth. When your paths finally meet, it will not be dramatic. It will be peaceful. The connection will feel ancient, as if your spirits recognize a language only heaven knows. You'll understand without words. You'll feel safe without question. You'll see purpose where others see coincidence. Jesus says, the peace you feel will be your confirmation. Not a sign written in the sky, not a voice from thunder, peace, because peace is heaven's signature. When something is from God, it doesn't rush you. It rests you. It doesn't confuse you. It clarifies you. It doesn't demand proof. It produces fruit. You will know it's God when you no longer feel the need to perform. You will simply be yourself, and that will be enough. The person destined for you will not be intimidated by your growth. They will celebrate it. They will not compete with your calling. They will complement it. They will not silence your voice. They will amplify it. Together you will reflect Christ's love, patient, forgiving, steady. And when people see your union, they will sense holiness. It will not be about perfection. It will be about presence. God's presence between two people who decided to wait for His timing. The truth behind the waiting will strike you with holy awe. You'll realize that had any part of your journey been shorter, you would not have been ready for this kind of love. You'll see that every delay was mercy disguised as disappointment. Mercy made you strong enough to stand without fear. Mercy taught you how to listen to God's voice above all others. Mercy kept you single long enough to learn that solitude is not emptiness. It's intimacy with heaven. You will thank God for every lonely year. You will praise Him for every door that never opened. You will smile at the memories that once hurt, because they became the bridge to your destiny. Jesus says, you are about to step into answered prayer that looks nothing like what you imagined, yet everything like what you needed. The person you are becoming will meet the person I prepared, and together you will walk into purpose. Your marriage will not be an ending. It will be a beginning. The beginning of new ministry, new laughter, new restoration. The two of you will build not only a home but a haven, a place where God is honored in daily things, in how you speak, how you forgive, how you serve. Heaven will dwell there. Children will grow in peace. Visitors will feel the atmosphere of love without a word being said. Because where God joins hearts, His Spirit lingers. Do not worry about how it will happen. Worry has no authority in this season. Faith is now your language. Faith says, I do not need to understand. I need to trust. And trust opens every door that fear tried to close. You have trusted through tears. You have trusted when nothing moved. You have trusted when everyone else told you to settle. That trust has become fragrance before heaven. It has drawn favor toward your name. The Father is smiling over you. He whispers, my child, I saw every night you felt forgotten. I watched you choose righteousness over convenience. I counted every tear that fell when others mocked your hope. You never knew it. But I was standing beside you, collecting each tear as proof of your endurance. Now I will return them as joy. The time of unveiling has come. Even now the Spirit of God is preparing encounters. Divine meetings disguised as ordinary moments. Do not look for dramatic signs. Look for peace, humility, purpose. Look for someone who values presence over performance. This love will not shout. It will whisper. It will not promise everything overnight. It will prove itself day by day. That is how heaven builds permanence, quietly, intentionally, eternally. The waiting taught you that real love is not loud. It's consistent. It shows up when no one else does. It prays for you when you don't have strength. It protects what God has joined without pride or fear. That's the love you're about to encounter. And when it happens, the tears you once cried will return, but they will be different this time. They will be tears of realization. You'll remember the lonely nights, the rejected seasons, the quiet prayers, and you'll whisper, so this is why I had to wait. You'll see that Jesus was never late. He was waiting for the perfect moment when your heart, your purpose, and your promise aligned under His light. The wait was not wasted. It built a foundation unshakable by storms. Because God doesn't want to give you temporary love. He wants to give you testimony love. The kind of love that endures through time, temptation, and trial. The kind of love that reminds the world that heaven still writes stories. And your story will inspire others to believe again. There will be people who watch your union and remember their own promises. They will say, if God could do this for them, He can do it for me. That's how powerful your testimony will be, not through your words, but through your peace. Peace is contagious. When you walk in it, others catch it. When you rest in God's will, others begin to hope again. That is why your marriage is not just about you. It's about the kingdom. It's about showing the world what divine timing looks like when human impatience surrenders. Jesus says, you waited well. Now, watch me fulfill it beautifully. The promise is closer than breath. You will feel the shift, sudden, subtle, sure. Doors that were closed will open without effort. Conversations that once felt dry will now carry divine warmth. You will sense favor surrounding you. Not because you forced it, but because you are walking in alignment. Alignment always attracts acceleration. Everything that took years to build will suddenly move in days, because God's timing redeems time. What felt stolen will be restored. What felt lost will return multiplied. Heaven wastes nothing, not even your heartbreak. Each scar became a doorway to deeper compassion. Each disappointment taught you discernment. Each lonely day made you stronger. You are now the kind of person who can carry blessing without breaking under it. That's why Jesus waited, because He knew the promise would require maturity. Now that maturity has come, the promise can manifest safely. Do not compare your journey to anyone else's. Their timing is theirs. Yours is sacred. The same God who took His time with you will take His time revealing what fits you perfectly. When it comes, it will feel natural. You won't have to change yourself to be loved. You'll simply grow together. And through it all, you will see the fingerprints of God. in every coincidence, every gentle word, every answered prayer. Then you'll realize that the story was never really about marriage alone. It was about becoming one with the will of God. Marriage is only the visible sign of an invisible promise kept. And now, heaven declares, it is kept. It is sealed. It is near. Your waiting has reached its holy conclusion. The truth behind it all will move you to tears, not of sorrow, but of gratitude. You will cry because you will finally understand that God was never withholding love from you. He was withholding pain you could not see. You will cry because every lonely moment suddenly makes sense. You will cry because you will feel how loved you have always been. And as those tears fall, you will feel peace like a warm covering. That peace will whisper, "This is the moment you were waiting for." You will smile through tears and say, "Jesus, you did it. You really did it." And he will answer softly, "I always keep my word." Then you will know, not just believe, but know that every prayer was heard, every delay divine, every tear transformed. Marriage is near. The truth has been revealed. Heaven's promise stands fulfilled. So, beloved soul, hold your head high. Walk in expectation, not exhaustion. Love is no longer a dream. It is a decree. The waiting was never empty. It was God's way of preparing you for abundance that never ends. And as you step into this new dawn, remember to give thanks, not just for the person arriving, but for the God who never left. He wrote your story with patience. He guarded your heart with purpose.